guys. I got to take my hat off. They had really good skill. The offensive line was really big, and the quarterback was a playmaker. So, it's disappointing, but I thought we did some things that, that we can build on, and that's really the approach we're taking.
Coach Beckman said the second half, every player who walked back, he said, hey, we won the second half, or who won the second half? We were up 7-6. Are you taking that as a positive, or?
Yeah, well, again, when you lose, it's hard to find some positives, but I think Coach has done a great job at pointing them out, and that is the reality, because we told them, at halftime, hey, we got to snap and clear, nothing else matters but what we do the second half, and I think the kids really took that to heart. They came out and played. I don't think that any of them were looking at the scoreboard. They were just playing, every play, every series, until it was over, and I think if you continue to do that, usually good things will happen.
You've talked a lot about creating turnovers and
yeah.
wanting to do that. Are you guys getting there, and where do you feel like
we're coming along. Obviously we love to get 3 or 4 turnovers every game. We got 1 this game, which was more than we got, 3 games ago. So we're a work in progress, but the thing that's great, the kids are talking about it. They understand what they need to get done. They understand how important turnovers are, takeaways are, getting that ball back for our offense.
How much film have you watched on Texas State for this week?
A ton.
What do they do?
Really athletic at quarterback. Quarterback's a really good player. He does a lot of good things. They use him as a dual threat. He's able to push the ball down the field. But probably his biggest strength is that he can extend plays and run. So, experienced offensive line, or big offensive line, I should say. So, again, every week, as you look around the country, anyone can win and anyone can lose on any given Sunday, or Saturday in this case. So, we got our hands worked. We got a lot of work to do to get ready to try to get this win.
You're most of the way through the season now. Is your defense where you thought it would be, or where you want it to be?
Yeah, how we're never satisfied, but we're getting better, and that's really the main thing that we're concentrating on. Are we improving? Are we making the same mistakes over and over? And to that point, we're not. We're not making the same mistakes. We're getting better. I think our kids are playing with a great deal of confidence. Obviously last week was a setback, but I think those kids understand if we continue to play hard, we'll win more than we'll lose.